They were nothing. But it just so happened we were in Ireland the summer, well, just the year before Aiden graduated from college. So we went to Trinity College in Dublin, to the bookstore, and bought him a Trinity College t-shirt. His father couldn't, he said he was so excited. And I mean, we just did it on a whim, we had no idea, but he said, oh, this is a big deal. So obviously it had been part of their family conversations.
I know everyone at the cemetery. Yeah, otherwise I know no one in the town, but in the cemetery.
Sorry. Well, most of my parents were buried in my mother, well, my mother, my dad, and her sister, and her parents. Anyhow, there were 10 plots, all in this little Riverview Cemetery, just right across the line from in St. Paul, but right by Wessington. It's a lovely little cemetery. It's not a big one, but it's very nice. But there's no room for the rest of us. So we're going to donate our bodies to the U, and they will cremate them, put them in a common grave in Lakewood, which is fine. I asked my children if they wanted my ashes. They said no. So, but the reason I started this story, so my brother is moving this year, and he's now moved, but he's getting rid of stuff. So he had this big painting of this little church called the Salem Church, and it's in an Integral Heights, sort of out that way. And we know there's family he had it because there's a family relationship to that church. We had some long time ago, somebody from the church was a minister there, and then one of my uncles was a big benefactor there. And it's a tiny little church. So he tracked down somebody and called them and said, I have this picture, which you wanted. Oh, we want it. So we made an appointment to meet this guy, and they brought the picture. And the guy was part of a historical preservation group for the church. So he was delighted. So they get to talking, and he said, your name is Schlicker, right? And my brother said, yeah. And he said, well, come with me, let's go out to the graveyard. Well, we already knew this partly. So out in the graveyard is my great-grandmother had 2 sons who died as children, and an aunt and an uncle, 5 or 6 relatives. And then the guy says to my brother, see this? There are 9 or 10 more plots here. He said, I think they belong to you. I had no idea you owned mine. And he said, why do you say that? He says, because your name is Schlicker. And they were bought by the Schlicker family. So he said, they belong to you or your family. So all of this cemetery plots, we had no idea existed. So again, things happen and you're like, what? So he said, today we got to walk and do this.
Wish me?
Most of my relatives are German Lutheran Church.
And Buffalo.
While I have you, why don't you leave your plates where they are? I think our dishwasher's having, it's
You'll have
full.
problems.
And so I think it'll be easiest to collect them that way instead of trying to pile them in a different way. So just, that would work the best. Next month, we are going to have a great guitarist and vocalist who will remain anonymous, who's sitting right over here. And it is November 13th, moved up a week. because of some miscellaneous event. Yes, the Lutefisk dinner, and so that change in our schedule. Then we go back to our regular third Thursday. In December, that will be Dave Stark leading us in the annual Christmas hymns, and we will go on from there. So I'm just trying to cover some airtime here. I will. So, welcome to Aging Splendidly for those of you online. Thank you for joining us, and thank everybody for attending live here. We are honored and have a special treat today. People from Regions Hospital, I can almost read my handwriting. Denise Sikora from Regions Foundation and Alexis Felton, Director of Nursing at the Birth Center, are going to talk to us about their thing. So please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Sound check. Everyone can hear me okay? Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for inviting us today to give this talk about our hospital and specifically our birth center. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing over at Regions Hospital. And so just going to talk a little bit about our program and our birth center and have some time for questions and things at the end, okay? So I understand that I'll just have you advance my slide when we're ready, or you want me? I have control now, okay.
Just the video.
Just the video. Got it. Okay. So just to give a little bit of background about me, this is a couple pictures that are really important to me. The top picture there is my grandma, who was a World War II Army nurse, and she was my inspiration to pursue nursing. So I'm from Dubuque, Iowa. I don't know if we have any Iowans in the room, but there we have one. I knew we could find somebody. And I lived there for the first part of my life. I graduated from Northeast Iowa Community College in 1997 with an associate degree in nursing. And then I worked at a smaller community hospital in Dubuque, Iowa for 5 years. My husband and I relocated to the Twin Cities in 2002 when we started our family. And for the the bulk of my career, I've been privileged to work at the Mother-Baby Center at Abbott Northwestern Hospital. That's part of Allina Health. And so I've had various roles there, many of which were clinical nursing at the bedside. I worked postpartum, antepartum, labor and delivery, and then kind of took on some more leadership roles. So became kind of an educator and orientation, and then a supervisor, a manager, and then the patient care director. An opportunity opened up in 2022 at Regions Hospital. So I was fortunate enough to be selected to be the nursing director there, and I've been there since 2002, so just almost celebrating 3 years at Regions. I went on to get my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from St. Kate's in 2016, and then I just finished up my Master's in Organizational Change Leadership from UW-Platteville in 2023. So some pictures there. Next to my grandma is the birth center at Abbott Northwestern Hospital, and then on the bottom is the Regions Family Birth Center. This is my family. Fur babies and all. So I have 2 daughters. One's Sophia, she's 22. My husband, Chris. My oldest daughter, Isabel, who's 26. Both my daughters live in Minneapolis and have just recently become adults, so pretty excited about that. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about Health Partners just in general, about who we are. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Health Partners. We're an integrated nonprofit health care provider and health insurance company. The headquarters are out of Bloomington. We offer care, coverage, research, and education to our members, patients, and community. We have about 1.7 medical and dental plan members, more than 1.3 million medical and dental patients, and we also have research. How's that? So just a little bit about our footprint here. You can see this is our 8 hospitals, 7 of which provide labor and delivery and postpartum care. So the 2 large hospitals are Regions, of course, here in St. Paul, and then Methodist, which is in St. Louis Park. And then we have some smaller sites. We have Hudson Hospital in Wisconsin. We have Amory and Westfields hospitals, also in western Wisconsin. In central Minnesota, we have Hutchinson. So those are our big hubs. A little bit about our mission. So our mission for Health Partners is to improve health, well-being, and partnership with our members, patients, and community. Our vision is health as it could be, affordability as it must be, through relationships built on trust. And then our values. Being a partner for good means living our values every day. So those kind of values include excellence, compassion, partnership, and integrity. So I'm going to spend a little time just talking about how the birth center at Regions, how we incorporated these values in the design of the birth center. So the guiding principles that were used include those values of Health Partners, so the compassion, partnership, excellence, and integrity. But then the design team, this was before my time, but they came up with 3 what we call kind of eggs of the design. So they used these eggs in all of their decisions that they made throughout the design of the birth center. So the new birth center opened in July of 2020, and we just celebrated our 5th birthday. But the design and planning for the birth center was years in the making. Every decision was centered around Health Partners, as I mentioned, values of compassion, partnership, excellence, and integrity, and then these additional eggs, which talk about highly reliable, family-centered, and equitable care. So for those who aren't familiar with what highly reliable means, that's really just whenever patients come into our care, whether they're the lowest risk patient, and we have certified nurse midwives that can take care of our very low risk patients, all the way up to our highest risk patients. We provide the same level of care for these patients every time, and we have work standards that are built in high reliability. So it's really just to prevent errors from happening. And then we also, of course, talk about family-centered care. So we want to make sure that we don't define what a patient's family means to them. We know that families vary from culture to culture, and that's not our job to determine, but we're here to provide that care for any type of family that you, or whoever you identify your family to be. I'm going to move to the next slide, and there's going to be just a little video that's going to show it's about 1.5 minutes long, and it's on our website. And this is what patients can see when they're deciding whether or not they want to deliver at Regions Hospital.
Find out what you can expect when you're expecting to give birth at St. Paul's newest birthing center. Our all-new 3-story, 160,000 square foot birth center delivers larger private birthing suites, private water birthing suites, larger postpartum rooms, expanded family and visitor spaces, personal refrigerators, high-speed Wi-Fi, and dedicated private family parking that redefines convenience. We're ready to handle every birth, from high risk to unmedicated birth to water birth and everything in between. Our NICU has the latest technology, expanded capabilities, and adjoining private spaces for families. Plus, we're the only hospital in Minnesota with enhanced couplet care rooms. This allows us to keep high-risk moms and babies together, resulting in healthier outcomes for the whole family. We welcome and support all families in our community, providing a family-centered care experience in a warm, welcoming environment. It's easy to see why expecting mothers are so excited to welcome our new addition.
Okay. Go to the next slide here. There we go. Make sure I'm not breathing. Okay. So again, who we are. So we opened in July of 2020. Does anyone remember what was happening in 2020? COVID. That's right. So the birth center was scheduled to open actually in the spring of 2020, but they had to delay the opening. And really what the decision was just to go ahead and get it going because we needed to meet the needs of our community and the patients that were waiting to receive care there. So it was an extensive multiple-year project. There was a design team that consisted of leaders, clinicians, and then they involved many of the frontline team members. So nurses at the bedside were able to be part of the design and help influence decision-making. And they used, again, that framework that I mentioned of highly reliable, family-centered, and equitable care. So we have 2 floors, actually 3 floors. The first floor is just kind of an entrance, and we're really fortunate to be able to offer our own parking garage at the birth center, which is unique to any birth center really in the metro area. So patients who come to the birth center have their own dedicated parking, so they don't have to come through the whole hospital with all of their belongings and, have to bring their newborn through the hospital when they go to discharge. So that's our first floor. The third floor is our labor and delivery and maternal assessment, which is also known as a triage area. So we have 5 beds there. We have 13 labor and delivery rooms. We have 2 operating rooms and then 2 surgical recovery rooms where people go after they've had C-sections. And then our Southeast 2 unit is our postpartum and NICU space. So we have a 24-bed postpartum unit. And we have a 5-bed enhanced couplet care area, which is Minnesota's first offering of this kind of care. So these babies normally would need a higher level of care, and they may have to go to our NICU. And instead, we're able to care for them in the same room as their parent, their birthing parent. So we're able to kind of combine those care so families can stay together. We also have an 8-bed level 2 special care nursery, and so we take care of babies that are born at 32 weeks or greater, so that's what that means at level 2. A level 3 NICU would be someplace like Children's that would take care of babies born even before that 32-week gestational age. We also offer inpatient and outpatient lactation services. So here's just kind of a look at our volume since we opened. So there we are, 2020. Opening in July of 2020. So that year we did have about 2,400 births. And just last year we were just too shy of 3,000. So we've had almost a 23% growth since we've opened in 2020.
What will your capacity be?
Say more.
Well, you're at 3,000. Can you handle 4,000?
We probably could. Yeah. Our goal is to get over that 3,000. Yeah. We have the ability within the birth center to expand, to grow. So we could grow up. So we have the shell kind of laid out to add different level of floors if we needed to. And then this is just to look at our 5-year demographics. So of our patients that have delivered at the birth center, 20% of our patients have limited English proficiency. And we do have to use interpreter services for those patients. 56% of our patients are patients of color, and 48% of our patients are either uninsured or have government insurance programs. So the patients that we're caring for are those marginalized communities typically that use government insurance programs and are not able to speak English and communicate. And so again, just representative of the community that we serve. This I just took as a quick snapshot of number of births by mother city. And so you can see the majority of our patients, and there was actually a large section which perhaps they didn't identify the city in which the birth parent lived, but you can see the majority of our patients are from St. Paul. This was a little kind of fun little sheet I put together last year at the end of the year for our 2024 statistics. So last year we had the most ever births in a year at Regents Hospital. So we came, like I said, shy just of 3,000, just too shy of 3,000. We had 32 sets of twins, which was an increase from 2023. In September, we had our highest delivery month ever recorded. So we had 267 babies in 1 month. Our busiest day was actually Christmas Eve. We had 16 babies born. And that ECC program that I talked about, that's our enhanced couplet care program. We continue to see growth in that space. So we had 58 babies cared for in our ECC program last year. Yes.
How for the babies who need, anyhow, do you have room for multiples, like twins or triplets in the ECC unit?
The question was if we had room for triplets or twins in the ECC. Yes, we can take care of twins. I'm going to show another slide about something exciting that we did last year about your triplet question, okay? And here it is, just like that, triple the joy. On January 14th this year, we welcomed our first set of triplets. And this was new to the birth center. From what I was told, maybe 30 plus years ago, we did have a set of triplets that came in and delivered. I see someone who used to work at the birth center who is nodding her head, but not since then. So this is a really special time because, you know, oftentimes triplet pregnancies, they don't actually get to be to a gestational age where we can take care of them at Regions because of our gestational age being 32 weeks. Oftentimes those babies have to deliver at a higher level of care, like a children's hospital. But this particular mom, she made it to 34 weeks with triplets and really wanted to deliver at Regions. And so we were able to accommodate that. It took a lot of preparation. We had to have all the right equipment, 3 of everything. And there's my team. I'm so proud of them. My nurse manager, my supervisor, and one of our wonderful labor and delivery nurses that took care of the family while they were having their surgery. So just kind of a few things on how we continue to grow and diversify. Because we opened in 2020, that was, of course, a really challenging time to be able to offer in-person tours for our prospective families. They weren't able to come in and see the space, and we weren't able to show it off. So we had that video that I showed, which people could look at online. But we were finally able to start offering in-person tours in 2023. And that program has just really continued to expand. So we conducted in 2024 95 tours and saw over 1,000 participants, which doubled. Or I'm sorry, this was in 24. NICView camera, so this is another really exciting offering that we're able to have cameras specifically in our NICU space that kind of go right above the baby's crib. And when parents maybe have to go home, they want to take a shower because those NICU babies are sometimes in the hospital for a couple of weeks and the parents are discharged from the hospital and they need to go home. They can call in and just ask the nurse and they can program it and see what their baby's up to remotely through this camera. Eat, Sleep, Console is a program that we started in 2024. And this is really just how we take care of, and I'm sure many of you have heard of the increase in substance use disorder in our communities and across the nation. And pregnant patients are really not, excluded from those statistics. So we see a lot of patients who come in with substance use disorder. And this is a special way in which we can care for those patients when the baby is born, keeping those families together. And what they've really found is that babies do the best when they're being cared for by their parents when they're withdrawing from substances. So this is a program that we're excited to be a part of. Ensure is just the ability for us to provide what's called surfactant to babies when they're born and they need that additional kind of lubricant for their lungs. And sometimes we can just give it really quickly in and out. They call it in and out, put a breathing tube in and deliver the medication. And then those babies, instead of having to transfer to Children's Hospital, are able to stay with us. So we're continuing to expand that program. We attended the Quality Academy that Health Partners offers, and that was really to develop some operating room efficiencies. And then we're also partnering with Gillette Hospital to offer routine speech and physical therapies for the babies in our NICU. This is just kind of how we continue to maintain competitive costs within our birth center. So we're really, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but this is just how we're really maximizing the efficiencies of our nursing teams, making sure that they're cross-trained to different areas so they don't just take care of newborns or just don't take care of laboring moms. They can go in between, and that's really been helpful. And we're continuing to work on that third bullet point in the middle. It's called divert reduction, and that's really a big focus for us. So Birth centers all across the Twin Cities sometimes get to a point where they need to, what they call, go on divert, which is essentially say, we're at capacity, we can't take any more patients because we either don't have enough nursing staff or enough beds. And those patients then have to find another place to go to have their baby. And we're really constantly working on reducing our number of hours of divert to be able to take care of the patients who plan to deliver with us. And then these are some quotes. So patients who receive care in our birth center, when they're discharged, they get the option to participate in a survey. And I just picked these three quotes because I really just feel like this summarizes the experience that our patients have. So I only have wonderful things to say about the staff at the birth center. We had a few unexpected shifts with our birth experience, and I always felt in control and taken care of. Everyone was kind and supportive and answered all of our questions respectfully. From the doctors and nurses to surgical staff, PCAs, anesthesiologists, lactation consultants, office staff, and anyone else I forgot. I cannot thank you enough for helping welcome our sweet little one into the world. I'd recommend Regions Birth Center to anyone. And I know we're going to run out of time here because I have many slides left actually. But just excited to share what our patients say about us. This is another just picture of our team. We won an experience banner this year from the hospital. So this is awarded to nursing departments in the hospital that have received the top rankings in patient experience through our survey. So they gave us a banner to put on our unit, and then just some of our nursing team members that were able to participate in the picture. And then these are a couple of patient pictures. So in the far right here is Anaya, one of our New Year's babies. In 2024 was a leap year, you may recall. And our nurses made you can barely see it in the picture, but the baby's wearing a little froggy hat. And so we gave that little leapling hat to all the babies born on Leap Day this year, or in 2024. And then on Halloween, our nurses in the NICU made these cute little costumes for our NICU babies. So Cat Lady, Paging Dr. NICU, NICU had a little lamb. So just some fun pictures there. And then just some of the quality things that we're working on. So as a hospital systems, they're always working on quality measures. So just to give a little bit of background, and this may surprise some of you if you haven't heard these statistics before, but the first image there is where the United States ranks outside of other industrialized nations in deaths per 100,000 live births. So we actually, out of all the industrialized nations, rank 67th for maternal mortality and morbidity. And you would think that we would be much higher with all of our technology and things like that. Here, it tells us that if you're a black woman, you face 3 times the maternal mortality risk as a white woman. And this is, again, is deaths per 100,000 live births. So what do we do about this? Well, we have 3 areas in which we focus. So one is postpartum hemorrhage, and this has been determined to be one of the leading causes of maternal morbidity and mortality. So postpartum hemorrhage is defined as a blood loss during or after birth of greater than or equal to 1,000 milliliters, or 1 liter of blood. And hypertension is another big complication of pregnancy and of postpartum, or after you've had a baby or your care. And our goal is really to administer a antihypertensive agent, which is a blood pressure lowering drug, within 60 minutes of the first episode or onset of hypertension. And then category 2 tracings. These are, so when you're in labor, you're placed on a monitor to monitor your baby's heart rate and well-being. And we've determined that category 2 tracings are our highest risk tracing because we need to intervene and see if we can correct the tracing. And if we can't correct it, then we need to decide if the patient needs a C-section. The problem is, the challenge is that 80% of labors have what's called a category 2 tracing. So most people during labor experience this kind of tracing on the babies. They just don't behave during labor. And so this is what we're trying to manage and try to determine when we intervene so we have a good outcome. Oh, I guess that was it. So yeah, that is what I have prepared for you all today. I would love to spend some time answering questions. And for those who are online, when you ask a question, I'll just repeat it so people online can hear the question as well. Who has a question? Yes.
I've got a comment.
Comment.
Say, I've really had a very satisfactory experience with Health Partners. Actually, alignment too. Thanks for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
At the time when you're expanding, I think Mayo is pulling out of some of the smaller communities with healthcare for newborns.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to make any comment on the smaller communities.
Yeah.
Probably the answer.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that during lunch, and it's becoming an increasing problem, what they call maternity deserts. And it's really impacting our rural communities, especially because they're not able to maintain their labor and delivery services at these smaller hospitals that do, few births. Thankfully, Health Partners really has continued out of our 8 hospitals, 7 continue to perform birth care, which is what I talked about in that beginning slide. But yeah, we're continuously hearing of different hospitals closing or shutting down their ability to take care of labor and delivery patients. Yes, I forgot to mention Lakeview, I think. Yes, the question was, will the new hospital in Stillwater offer labor and delivery services? And yes, they will. They do currently, and they will continue to. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Does your program encourage doctors from foreign countries to come and get some training? We don't have enough docs here. Maybe they don't, but is there an international piece that
Yeah.
you're involved with?
That's a good question. The question was, do we have any kind of international agreements with other countries to help train physicians? And I'm sure there are programs like that, but we don't specifically at Regions don't have that type of program. We do have it was interesting actually, this spring we had the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. It's called ACOG. They have one of our physicians is a member, and I think she leads like the Twin Cities chapter. We had a group of Japanese physicians come over and want to tour our birth center and see. We also have a really large simulation department at Regions Hospital, which is where people can do hands-on kind of learnings and things like that. And they were blown away by our facility and our simulation program and things like that. But they were doing training. They were just there to visit and see. But yeah. What other questions? Yes.
What percentage of the births are water births? And is there cultural preferences or people who decide to go
Yeah.
the delivery route?
Yeah, the question is what percentage of our births are water births, and what kind of decisions, values, culture does that influence or contribute to the decision to have a water birth? Percentage-wise, I don't have off the top of my head. I will say it was a popular. He's giving me all sorts of guidance in the back there. It was a more popular delivery method probably 10 years ago. It kind of had its surge, I would say. So many birth centers, newer birth centers that were built after that kind of catered to at least having that option available for families who would like to have a water birth. So at Regions, at the video we talked about, we have 2 rooms dedicated just to water births, but they can be used for regular labor and delivery as well. So we try to keep those open. Patients come in, a lot of people who haven't had a baby before, they think maybe they would like to try a water birth, and then sometimes they have some contractions and then they change their mind too. So, yeah. But it's an option. And I wouldn't say there's a lot of cultural influence to it. Yeah, I wouldn't say.
So you would say that those 2 rooms are probably used for conventional births?
Correct.
Water births?
Yeah, the question was, were those 2 water birth rooms used more for conventional or regular, kind of vaginal land births, we call them, instead of water births? Yes, land births, yeah. Any new fads? Oh gosh, there's always stuff coming up. You know, it's not really. Yeah, it's pretty much, it's kind of stable right now, I would say, in the terms of fads. For a while, we were seeing patients maybe desire to keep their placenta attached for a period of time after the delivery. And we've seen that go away now too. So yeah, people are just kind of wanting to come in and have a baby. Just, yeah.
What's the percentage of midwife births, and is that?
Oh, good question. Percentage of midwife births compared to OBs. So at Regions, we have both an OB/GYN doctor team, and then we have a certified nurse midwife team. And I would say it's probably 50-50. Yeah. They work really collaboratively together, and often, you know, midwife patients will take care of patients throughout labor, and then if they need surgery, then they'll transfer off to the OB team. But then the midwife team will round on the patient on postpartum the next day. So yeah, they work really collaboratively together. Yes, Dave.
Have you delivered a baby?
Have I ever delivered a baby is a question. Many, yes, yes. Yeah, not recently. It's been a while. I'm pretty rusty, but yeah, I used to work the night shift for 10 years, and I delivered my fair share of babies.
Anybody else in the room has delivered a baby, other than Dr. Bob Nelson?
We've got hands raised. Yeah, sometimes they just come, and nobody's there, except for the nurse. The nurse is always there. What other questions? Yes.
Two questions.
Yes.
One is, do you do any like natural childbirth classes?
Okay.
And what's the average stay for a mother when she after
Sure.
she delivers?
Sure. The question was, do we do any natural childbirth classes, and then how long is the average patient stay afterwards? So the first part about the childbirth education, we've shifted that all to external partners. So health partners and Regions specifically, we don't offer any childbirth classes, but we have, you know, linked to our website, another company called Everyday Miracles, and they offer a variety of both online and in-person classes. So we kind of outsource that. And then the average length of stay, someone else was asking me this earlier. So, you know, patients, we have about a 30% C-section rate at our hospital. So about one in 3 patients have a C-section. Those patients stay about 48 to 72 hours, and vaginal birth would stay for about 24 to 48 hours. So both populations about 2 days.
The September births, that kind of threw you out of sync to get that many births in 1 month? Or?
Well, so what I didn't share, well, that was in 2024. This year we actually had 272 in July, so we beat it. Yes, we know that our summer months, you know, our work is actually very kind of predictable in OBGYN. So we see a drop off November, December, and then to those winter months, and then we see a big spike come May. And we stay pretty steady until about October. So yeah, it's just kind of the way, you know, I don't know, Thanksgiving, New Year's babies. The full, oh, you know, I'm an old, I mean, I've been a nurse for, you know, 25 years, and I believe in all that. So barometric pressure, rainstorms, everyone's water breaks, you know, so yeah.
September baby, I figure it's the cold weather might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I know. Well, and my whole every one of those people that you saw, we all are born in September, so. Yes, sir.
For on a national basis, for the mortality of the babies that are lost, is there a primary reason? Is it because the mothers are not getting any care, or is there what's
Yeah.
the reason, or is there a primary, 2 or 3 things that cause this?
Yeah.
Why are we
Seeing that, yeah.
Is it because we have such a crappy program for the moms to get the care they need up front?
Yeah, the question was all around the increase or the rates of maternal mortality in the United States and what's the cause of that. And, as I talked about, postpartum hemorrhage and hypertension are the two leading causes of maternal mortality and morbidity. Where our biggest discrepancy is in the United States is with our patients of color getting the appropriate level of care, and also honestly being listened to and heard during their birth experience. So there's a lot of, structural pieces to patients of color seeking care because of perhaps structural racism, things like that prevent them from seeking care, or when they do seek care, their issues or concerns aren't being actually listened to and addressed. And so, we see those types of patients who maybe they came in with a headache and a high blood pressure, and then they went home and then they had a seizure, and because they weren't given the right medication or treatment. I will say in the state of Minnesota, we have really great outcomes here. Our mortality is far less than the rest of the country, but there are areas in our country that, you can look on kind of like heat maps and see where we have a lot of work to do.
I'd like to address that briefly. While we call ourselves the United States of America, perhaps we should call ourselves the disunited States of America. So we're not a homogeneous culture. And so in people who really don't get care, they don't do as well as people who do get care. People who do not have income, place to live, food to eat, they don't do as well as
Transportation.
people that do. And so this is not necessarily an OBGYN
No.
problem solely, and probably isn't mainly an OBGYN problem.
Yeah.
And a brief story, my daughter trained partly at Regions and is on staff there. As a resident, she came home late one day and was having a hard time because her last patient was a 500-pound person who she delivered during a cardiac arrest. Did the C-section, handed the baby to the high-risk baby people, called in the trauma team to figure out how to put her back together. Mother and baby made it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so it's great care,
Yeah.
but it's still very high risk. People are very high risk.
Yeah. And I think, you just I love that story. And I think, that's what's so special, I will say, about Regions and the building and the design is that it was meant for our, if we built and designed for our most underserved patient, then we're going to meet the needs of all of our patients. And so that's really what the intent was. And I think that shows when you walk in the door and see the care that we provide there, and our statistics are really excellent. So, yes.
Kind of a difficult question, maybe you just answer just off the cuff. Any correlation you could pick up between age of birth for the mother and drug use also?
So the question was any correlation between age of, I'm assuming the mother, yep, and drug use. So do we see are you asking, are we seeing?
Is that are those factors in the mortality?
Oh, yeah, okay. Age probably. I mean, our patients are just not, I think many, many years ago, you would think I'm in labor and delivery and I'm taking care of, healthy, low risk moms. And really, these patients are now coming to us a little bit older. People are waiting to have babies into their 30s. And often have a lot of comorbidities. So we're seeing hypertension, diabetes, obesity, all the things that we see in our country, right? I mean, these are not just unique to pregnant patients. So yeah, I guess there's a correlation, I'm sure. And then the substance use disorder. Yeah, I mean, I think we actually just ran a statistic a couple weeks ago showing the trend line of hypertension in our patients, high blood pressure in our patients from 2020 straight up 30% increase in hypertension disorders of pregnancy. So is that because of COVID? I mean, there's so many things that we're still learning too. Yeah, so.
Am I on?
You're
Can you
on.
hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Denise Sikora. I'm from Regions Hospital Foundation and just wanted to pop in and first just say if we could thank Alexis for her time.
Oh, thank you.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate all
Yeah.
the insight and leadership that you bring.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
She's
you.
incredible.
Thanks, Denise.
Wanting to just add a couple more things for just people to be aware about. So as Alexis has said, the birth center was open in 2020. So 5 years later, we are up and going, and hopefully 3,000 will be in our future of hitting those births.
Hope so.
I also want to add that I contributed to those numbers last year. I had my very first daughter in August of 2024.
Yes.
So not only being a staff here at Regions for a number of years, but also a patient, now I can speak to the high quality care that we received. And we even had a little bit of a NICU stay, and those team members were absolutely fantastic. But if anybody is interested or wanting to know more about the work that we do at the birth center or at Regions overall, please let me know. I am more than happy to have conversation with you. If you haven't had time to come in and see the birth center or other areas of the hospital, I'd be happy to do so. It's an incredible, beautiful building. Again, the intentionality that went into it is just phenomenal. And then, of course, my area of work is to help support different initiatives in the hospital, including different ways that people can make gifts to it. So if you have questions around that, please let me know after. I'm happy to answer any questions for people. So just wanted to add a
Thanks,
few
Denise.
few
Yeah.
more points to that, but
Yeah.
really appreciate everyone's time. And I don't want to interrupt if there are more questions, but just wanted to add those few
Yeah.
points.
I
Yes.
appreciate it. I did bring a couple pamphlets, and then I have my business card back there too. If anyone, wants to send me an email or anything, happy to respond that way too. But I probably have time for like 2 more questions. And someday I'll figure out this breathing thing with this microphone, but sorry. Any other questions I can answer?
And we can be around here for a little bit longer too, to thank everyone online. But I really want to say thanks to Dave and Sue for having
Yes.
us here today. They were the
Thank
ones that
you.
reached out asking if we would be
Yeah.
available. And Mr. Planner, we had this months in advance on the calendar, which is a great way to do it. So thank you for
Yes.
letting us join you today.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your lunch too. It was great.
Yes. Thank you.
I want to thank the improvers for what they're about to do. So, since I'm not sure what the state of our dishwasher is, but it isn't good. So.